Welcome back to the channel. This is Roberto with Full Curl Precision again. Check out the background. That's looking good. On tonight's video, we're doing an 8mm matchup. This was a request. And you know what? It's kind of fun to see and learn from others because some I've never even heard of or even knew they existed. But there's so many cartridges and cool ones to compare. So for tonight, your matchup. There we go. Zoom out it. There. Okay. We have, by special request, 8mm Rem Mag versus 8mm Mauser versus the 8x68S. So there was a little bit of research, which is interesting, because one thing I found interesting is the 8mm Rem Mag and the 8x68S have the same CUP, that of 65,000. And the 8mm max goes up to like 55,000. The 8mm, I did not know this too, translates into a 325 caliber type. So the actual diameter for these are 0.323. Both of them. What's odd is the 8mm Mauser, though, is a 0.318. So totally different diameter, even though it's supposed to be the same. It's not. What is interesting, though, is Norma makes their Oryx bullet in a 196 grain for all of them. So I was able to find a bullet that is the same weight for all of them identically. And because they are so close, the BC didn't really change. It's so stupidly close, it's ridiculous. So I didn't bother changing it. In the reloading data, it would make only maybe a difference of half an inch max, so I'm not even going to worry about it. I did a 400 yard max, 100 yard zero, 24-inch barrel, and I tried to match up the powders as best as I could according to what the information would allow me. So for both the 8mm Rem Mag and the 8x68, I used Vitavori N160. And for the 8mm Mauser, I tried through several, and I got the best operating one I could find. And I know there's got to be others, but I didn't find a whole lot of reloading information on this. I used Vitavori N560, which I know has got to be slow for it, but at the same time, it doesn't allow for a very high max pressure. So using a slightly slower powder would allow you to get some velocities without going over pressure. If you use too high of a burn rate, obviously you're going to go over pressure. Therefore, kaboom, the gun goes boom, and not in a good way. So with that being the case, here we go. Let's get into this. We have the 8mm Rem Mag with 82.5 grains of N160. Gives you, and this velocity blew my mind, 3041 feet per second. So a 196 grain bullet is going over 3,000 feet per second out of a 24-inch barrel. That's an absolute hammer. With an energy of 4024 foot-pounds. At 100 yards, you have 2765 feet per second with 3328 foot-pounds. Obviously, 0 inches of drop. That's our zeroing range. 200 yards, 2506 feet per second, 2733 foot-pounds with 3.1 inches of drop. 300 yards, 2261 feet per second, 2225 foot-pounds, and 11.7 inches of drop. 400 yards, 2,030 feet per second with 1,793 foot-pounds with 27.1 inches of drop. For being what this is, it's actually a pretty flat trajectory. It's not the flattest trajectory, not by any stretch of the imagination, but that's pretty darn good. I can't complain about that at all. So yeah, let's get into this again. 8mm Mauser, also known as the 8x51, using the N560 powder, using 50.8 grains. I got 2603 feet per second. For muzzle velocity, muzzle energy, 2949. So not a slouch. If you're staying within a couple hundred yards or even 300 yards max, you're actually doing, it's going to be an absolute hammer, whatever you shoot. So 100 yards, here you go. You have 2353 feet per second with 2408 foot-pounds, 0 inches of drop. 200 yards, 2116 feet per second, 1949 foot-pounds, 4.9 inches of drop. 300 yards, 1893 feet per second with 1560 foot-pounds and 17.3 inches of drop. 400 yards, 1688 feet per second and 1240 foot-pounds with 39.9 inches of drop. So this is actually a considerable gap in your velocities. You know, you have over 400 feet per second difference between the 8mm Rem mag and the 8mm Mauser, and over 1,000 foot-pounds of energy difference. Yeah, quite a bit of difference. And at 400 yards, you're talking like basically 13 inches of elevation difference. That's a tremendous gap. That's not close at 400 yards. Now, can you just aim a little higher? Sure. But as a whole, a 12-inch gap is not close. So by a long stretch, the 8mm Rem mag is blowing the 8mm Mauser out of the water. And this is with the same length of barrel. So there's that. Okay, getting the last one. 8x68S is what it's called. With N160, 74.5 grains. So it's using 8 grains less of powder. It's getting 2959. So it's actually quite a really impressive cartridge. You're only talking a difference of not 80 to 90 feet per second, but it's also considerably less powder. But your energy is really good. Muzzle energy 3812. So again, you're within a couple hundred foot-pounds of energy, and same diameter, 0.323. So it's a big bullet. At 100 yards, 2688 feet per second, 3145 foot-pounds, 0 inches of drop. 200 yards, 2433 feet per second, 2576 foot-pounds of energy with 3.3 inches of drop. 300 yards, 2192 feet per second and 2092 foot-pounds, 12.5 inches of drop. So you're talking a difference of just under an inch between the 8mm Rem mag and this at 300 yards. At 400 yards, 1965 feet per second and 1681 foot-pounds and 29 inches of drop. So you have only a difference of 2 inches of drop at 400 yards between your 8mm Rem mag and your 8x68S. So these two are really, really stinking close. But for efficiency, I have to give it to the 8x68S because it's accomplishing a virtually identical trajectory out to 400 yards with very similar energies. Your energy difference between the 8mm Rem mag and the 8x68 at 400 yards is literally less than, it's like 90 foot-pounds. That's not much. So it's within the same wheelhouse, and it does it with 8 less grains of powder, with the same exact powder. So that's actually quite impressive. As an efficiency thing, I would give it to the 8x68. As a raw horsepower thing, I'm going to give it to the 8mm Rem mag. If you're hunting only within 200 yards, I'd flat out pick the 8mm Mauser because you're not going to go wrong with that. There's not an elk, a moose, or as they over in Europe they call them the European elk, which in North America we refer to them as moose. But yeah, there's not anything you couldn't knock down with that 8mm Mauser. Really, within 200 yards, you could take anything, and I'm including dangerous game in that because that's a big diameter. That's a lot of moving metal. 196 grains a bullet. That's a lot. Uh, I can see why a lot of the old timers that I've talked to. I grew up in New York State, and I've gotten the chance to talk with a lot of old German hunters. Grew up between mostly Germany, obviously, but some that came from like Austria, Poland, Finland, Norway. Yeah, they talk about the different animals they hunted as far as the big boar, um, their moose, their brown bear, and a lot of them talked about the 8mm Mauser and how good it was for what they did. And I can see why. The numbers are fantastic. This was a comparison I hadn't thought I'd ever be making because I'm not familiar at all with the 8 millimeters. I haven't spent much time with them. I knew they existed, but I haven't really spent much time with them. They're just not as popular here in the U.S. I don't know why. They're a fantastic cartridge, clearly by the numbers. I mean, if you were to take the 8mm Rem Mag or the 8x68 with this type of bullet and these kind of velocities, and you hunted thick timber, I have no doubt that even if you didn't get the most ideal angle on something like a big bull elk, and big bull elk can hit 800 or 900 pounds. It's not unheard of. I have zero doubt that any of these inside the thick timber areas would absolutely drop a big bull elk with one shot. That's a lot of momentum. It's a big diameter hole. It's going to do a tremendous amount on anything you hit. So, and even with not the most, when I say most ideal angle, it could be a chest shot or have to go through that shoulder, or you have a hard quartering away where you're sneaking it past the last rib. Well, part of that could be a little bit through the gut, but where it's passing through portion of the gut and into the lungs and stopping on the opposite hide. I have zero doubt that you could absolutely make a shot and you're getting over 30 inches of penetration. So I could easily see this turning into a great thick woods conversation. I think it would be a phenomenal cartridge conversation, because if you can use something like the 9.3 by 62 or the 35 Wellen or even a 375 H&H, this is right up there with them as far as overall effectiveness, clearly by the bullet diameter, weight, and just general efficiencies. I think you could do really well with these. Actually, I have a buddy down in Arkansas. He really likes his larger calibers, and he likes to hunt elk. And so, Darvin, yeah, take a look at these. I'm going to send you the link to this video. You might want to consider an 8mm Rem Mag, because that's right up your alley there. Throwing a heavy bullet long range, that might be exactly what you're looking for. Or this 8x68. So, but, one other thing too. I know I mentioned in the last video. Again, we have the ammunition boxes. We're working on them. But my buddy also does 3D printing of business cards. I got him 3D printing my cards for me. It's kind of fun. As long as you're keeping them relatively simple. These are my business cards. Yep, there you go. There's some information for you. So, yeah, you can check me out. We're trying different styles. But, yeah, this one's kind of cool. It has a chip reader. So, yeah, we're trying different ideas. Anyway, that's all I have for tonight. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. I appreciate all the support. I'm trying to get to 100 subs, and I'm really trying to make this channel grow. Hopefully I get, life has been super busy. I want to get some video of going out and doing some shooting, but life's been insane. I'm trying to help out some older friends that are going through some issues with their plumbing, and so time is limited. And if I have to pick between doing a video or helping somebody have a working plumbing in their house, I'm going to help them with their plumbing. That's what I'm going to do. It's not because I'm trying to neglect anything here, but at the end of the day, Someone's ability to be able to use their own home comfortably is a little bit more important than me going out and shooting. And I hope that translates down. If you know people who need help, go out and help them. You know, everyone's in a slightly different situation. I get that. But you don't have to do anything extravagant to be able to help someone out. It could be something simple. You know, be kind to your neighbors as best as you can. Help out where you can. Find some older one to help out, because Lord knows we all need a little help. And yeah, that's what I have for tonight. And I appreciate, again, the support. I'm trying to make this grow and to try to create a good space where folks can come, have conversation, learn, without, you know, there being a whole bunch of idiotic thought processes. Behave out there, shoot straight, be honest, and we'll talk to you later.